Sudan's dictator of 30 years, Omar al-Bashir, has been removed from office by the country's military. A new general, he imposed a 3-month state of emergency and said his military council will lead a transitional period lasting for 2 years. But here's the thing. Since al-Bashir's overthrow, we have now had several new military leaders part of this military council. They've come and gone, and in the nation's capital, Khartoum, a curfew has been essentially ignored. So now in charge apparently is a guy called al-Burhan, who ended the nighttime curfew and has vowed to, quote, uproot the regime and set free some of the jailed protesters. One gets the feeling that the armed forces in the country are beginning to understand the gravity of the situation, with thousands upon thousands of protesters on the streets of the capital, and this has been going on for quite some time now. We now have throngs of people outside the president's residence and army headquarters. Yeah, it's looking like a revolution. The demands of the protesters are not unreasonable. Political representation, civilian representation in this, what's going to be, we assume, a transitional administration. And, of course, the dream of democracy has to be, the goal at the end of the tunnel. I mean, economically, Sudan is a mess. Military rule for decades has not gone well. And without a civilian government and genuine democratic institutions, foreign businesses, international bodies, which can help grow your economy, they're not going to be willing to invest in your country as you're not seen as a safe bet. Instability is bad for business. Statement of the obvious, isn't it there? Yeah. An understatement it would be to say that this is a tense situation. The Sudanese Professionals Association, who are leading the protests, have submitted a 9-point list of demands in what is called the Declaration of Freedom and Change, which is signed up to by various groups in the country. They want the assets of the former dictator's officials frozen, and they want prosecutors and judges dismissed. They want the dictator himself arrested, and they want the former head of NIS arrested as well. That's the National Intelligence and Security Service, which is a feared and hated institution by many people in Sudan, I understand. The protesters want NIS to be heavily reformed. So, the military, the ruling elite, is making concessions in this tense environment, but will it be enough? Maybe many of the protesters, not trusting the military or its leadership, will keep pushing and pushing. Perhaps a compromise agreement will be reached, but I don't know, perhaps not. You know, all it takes is one nasty flashpoint or two, and things can escalate from there. and then, you know, who knows what can happen next. So watch this space, I guess.